All right, now that we're all back, we can kind of resolve all of those secondary questions. Since these things are of utmost concern to you, we're going to kind of work through what all really happened. So the captain's quarters were behind yours, where Captain Ron was supposed to be, and his officer he stays with the men in the lower deck. He and the others are down drinking and carrying on. As you start investigating around, the two, you kind of see where there was a couple of bandits that jumped down from up top. They seem to, when you get up to the top, they seem to have been caught unaware, and their throats have been cut, and they're laying dead on that upper deck. The two
They're
crewmen.
already dead. There's no.
Oh yeah, they're already dead. They were dead before the
Okay.
combat began. And then looking around, uh, you would think by this point in time either Captain Ron would have heard the commotion or something. The guys downstairs were just drunk and crazy, and they just never heard anything. Even when you yelled at them, they just barely heard your voice and thought you were saying don't look at don't look at my cards or something like that as you were off taking care of. They thought you were off taking care of your business uh, between what was going on. They didn't really pay much attention to that. And you go looking for Captain Ron, and his quarters are empty and ransacked.
Can I investigate that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not real good at that.
Yep. Stuff is thrown around all over the room. It's just very messy. You can tell that something is amiss, but that's the extent of it.
I'd like to take a look at that too.
I want to see if he left anything behind.
Well, I want to loot the bodies and see if there's anything on them, of course.
I mean, they're bandits. They should have money, right?
I'm looking for tracks at where we were.
Okay.
That were me and Mormor.
I know where one set go.
Okay, yeah. So as we're trying to resolve multiple things at first off the tracks. You can see where a lot of those led off into the woods directly. They're not following it. There's not like a path here or a road here or anything of that nature. But they do lead off out into the woods. It's very clear that they all came together. You can see many of the tracks. You can see where they uh, kind of set up a small little bit. There's a lot of pacing around and stuff right on the bank. And there's also some stuff stuck in the ground, some stakes that are connected to those ropes that are up to the grappling hooks that they fired or threw or something. But as far as leading to anything like directly, you'd have to follow them. But you definitely see where they all came from, generally speaking.
So they all look. Most of the all the tracks are leading towards the boat, none leading away. Or can I tell that?
Yeah, with that survival roll, you can tell they all lead towards the boat, but not away.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you kind of canvas around and you find none that lead away. One of the other things you notice, there is some grappling hooks that are on the back side of the rail off the back of the boat. But they just lead down into. They're not tied off to anything. They're not tied to the bank. They just hang down straight down out the back. As far as investigating Captain Ron's room, You can see he has actual windows in the back of his cabin that look out to the back. Those have been forced open. They're not broken or anything, but or at least they are open. They don't seem to be like latches broken or anything like that. You can't really see any signs that they were forcibly opened. You can look around the room and you see that there are, he's got a couple of personal belonging chests, things like that, a couple of sacks that weren't actually touched. But then there are some others, a couple of boxes that have been opened, a little trunk that's been opened, and most of the stuff seems like it was scattered, not that it was actually taken. Nothing of real value, a couple of ornate pieces, some that have been broken on the ground, but nothing like there's no like sacks of cash or anything that you've found left over in the stuff that's open and been tossed about.
Does it look like there was a struggle, or they just ransacked it and he left willingly?
There's no blood or anything like that to indicate that something happened, but since there was no like forced entry, there at least as far as that is concerned, and there's no it just looks like all the stuff on the inside is intact. Looks like it's just scattered. If there was a missing thing or two, or a small handful of things that were taken, it's possible, but you don't have an inventory of what was there beforehand, so you have no idea. But it looks like, of the containers that are open and stuff is just kind of spread out and pushed off to the side, it looks like most of what was containers would fill back up with the stuff you put in, that's strewn out around it.
Alright, someone was looking for something specific. And they found it.
Would any of the stuff that's been strewn about be any journals or anything?
You don't. Yeah, you're looking around. You don't find any journals or anything like that.
I'm gonna climb out the window and see if I can see which direction they went when they went at the back.
Yeah. So the upper deck up above him, there is the two corpses laying there with their throats cut, and you can see that they definitely came up from grappling hooks over the rail there. Down the side, it's hard that you don't see any signs of anything, just the water off the back of the boat.
Can I go with Fane to inspect the bodies? Do they have any markings or symbols on them?
Okay. Yep.
I'm gonna head down to the crews and see if the captain's with the crew.
DX would start going down the direction of the flow of the river, see if he can see anything downstream.
Okay.
If there's a specific role I need to do.
Yeah, you're just you're looking particularly for like tracks or something, or are you actually looking for just can you see anything? Like obviously not. Are you blind? I mean, but can you see like is anything outside like any traffic on the river? Like what do you?
Yeah, I'd be looking to see if anything came ashore or both on this side. So not really tracks, more like
Just markings of
any
any
bent
sign of
vegetation
anything?
markings. Yeah.
It'd be difficult to see the other side of the river because this is a pretty big river. I mean, this is like Mississippi River kind of river.
Okay.
On the other side of and this is enough that like two big boats could come down the middle and then two boats be docked on either side. It's easily with plenty of room to execute something like that. So, I mean, definitely big enough that you're gonna have difficulty making specific, stuff on the other side. As you move your way down this side, how far are you wanting to go?
Probably like 200 feet. Or 200 feet. Trying to think of my. No, about 100 yards.
Okay, so like full football field.
Mm-hmm.
All right, roll me some perception then. And then, specifically looking for the markings, let's do an investigation as a secondary.
Goddamn darkness.
So, are you still a bear, Rowan?
No, once I was satisfied that the danger was over, I probably would have taken a sniff around and then turned back into a human.
Okay. All right. Let's fix that back up. Yeah, so as you're going down, you find no evidence of anything 100 yards down. You're looking across the bank, looking at this bank. You don't see any, like, boats that just, like a canoe or anything like that that's just come ashore and just left there. You don't see anything that's indicative of any of the things that you were describing looking for. Morn, you go down to the bottom. You finally catch the attention of the crew and looking around. The captain is nowhere on deck. Looking down at the actual cargo hold area, nothing seems to be disturbed.
Well, I will inform the crew of what happened, and that the captain is nowhere to be found.
Yeah. So there are 6 crewmen left, plus the remaining officer, who all are just simply dumbfounded by the prospect. They've run up and down this river. They've never encountered bandits. Nothing has ever happened along that. No incident like this has ever happened to them. They've heard of a couple of bandits getting hit, but it's so it's just that folklore kind of story. The reason why they have a watch is just in case, but it's never expected that anything actually happens. The small rural town that they actually still lock the doors, or at night, they don't actually expect anyone like that to do anything. They just do it out of habit or of potential safety. They have no. They would have. Captain Ron was loved. They have no. He has no enemies. He's just a trader, and it does even less with the trade and more just a matter of transportation. So it's. He's not the merchant that actually does the buying and selling. He just moves stuff from one place to the other, gets paid to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been captain of the ship for a while then? I guess I asked the officer.
Yeah, this has been his boat for a better part of a decade now. The crew, him and the captain. I mean, captain lives on the boat. Even sometimes the crew swaps out. Even sometimes he has another officer from different places that'll swap in. But the captain's always on the boat. He's never gone. Never. Even when they dock at places, he doesn't go off into town to gallivant or anything. He just stays on the boat for the most part. Just hits the edge of the docks. Maybe the harbor district to secure supplies, pick up the next contract, and then back on the boat. That's all the more reason why they're just completely dumbfounded.
Who informed you? I guess again speaking to the officer, that you would be transporting us.
Well, that would have been the captain. When he was docked there, they've been actually at the harbor for almost a week. They were supposed to leave a couple of days ago, but they stayed on to take you as passengers at a request, and they were paid to do so. Paid for the extra time loss to wait a couple of days. It's like I didn't know anything about the contract. We just knew that the crew knew they got some short time, and so we've been out, having fun, and the captain's been here.
Did I find anything on the bandits?
They've got their weapons and cloaks. They don't have any coin purses or anything. They don't have any personal items at all on them. They just have their armor and weapons and in hoods. But no personal effects of any kind. So that's
And nothing taken from like the office that they already took or anything.
None of these people seem to have been a part of that. If this all took place simultaneously or at different intervals, yeah, they don't have anything that would indicate that. They also have no, like the clothing has no markings or anything like that, but it all does look rather uniform. Yeah, I mean, it definitely does look uniformly the same. Same type of hood, same type of scimitars. They look manufactured in the same place.
So, I go back to the office, and you said there was a window that was open in the office, and I climb out that window, and I'm at the back of the boat. Is that where I'm at?
Yeah, those windows pretty much overhang off the back of the boat.
So there's no
Like-
floor beneath them.
Into the water.
Okay, so I didn't quite climb out the window. No deck at all, just out to the water, and there were 2 grappling hooks.
Correct.
Oh no.
There were 2 that went up to the top.
To the window or
all the way
to
up
the...
to the railing up above. So, like, think about the back of the boat is almost straight up and down like a wall, like flat. And at the lower 2/3 of the boat is all the part of the storage and crew area or whatever, and then up on the deck part, the flat deck comes into this part that's raised further up, and then that's where the crew quarters, not the crew, the passenger quarters are, and the captain's quarters. And then directly above that, like a second floor to this structure that's above the deck, is it's just an open deck up top where they can look out. That's also where the wheelhouse is, essentially, for that connects through down to
But-
the rudder beneath, right off the back of the boat.
These aren't the 2 grappling hooks that TX saw, though, right?
No, those that he saw initially were off the side of the boat, up on the actual upper side, the forward half of the boat, and these are in the back of the boat, hanging off the back, dangling down into the water, where those up on the front are actually staked off and ropes connecting down to the bank.
And that's where TX went off, right? That direction from the
Yeah.
back of the boat?
Not the back of the boat, from the side of the boat. Morn and TX jumped off the side of the boat to the bank.
So just staring out the window and down towards the water, towards the back of the boat, is there anything? I need to roll something.
You can investigate. Yeah. Just kind of look off the back and look around. You can definitely see that there are some scuff marks about a foot below the window. Maybe that was a rappelling point, or it's hard to tell what that was actually used for. But there are some of those points below the window.
So I've seen the captain before. Was he armed when I met him? He like carry a sword at his side or anything?
Just a small short sword, and then a big
Is that
long knife.
is that in his office?
It is not.
You said we were near a forest, right?
Correct.
Can I find any owls or anything hanging out near the bank?
Yeah, you could try to do. Yeah, let's try that with what would be the best way to do that? Some kind of wisdom-based check. Just do let's see, nature's intelligence. Just do
Just
a
a perception or
Let's
something?
just do a perception. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah,
I'm rolling really bad.
Yeah, you think that if there were, they're very likely spooked off by all the goings on there. There was enough tracks down there that they had kind of set up whatever happened, set up the ambush, set up the thing, and that their presence likely would have scared away most woodland animals in a short distance in the area. You don't see anything.
I'm gonna climb down onto the bank. And then I'm gonna wild shape into dire wolf and have a sniff around and see if I can track, if I can catch any scent of the captain or anything like that.
Okay. Go ahead and use your perception check. Yeah, you definitely have a scent of a lot of the humans, and you can pick up some of that scent um, relative to those that were up on the deck, the corpses on the deck. A lot of those same scents are all about, but you're not picking up Captain Ron specifically, or anyone else that you hadn't smelled from down here. Or like all the smells you smell here are smells that you have smelled from people on the deck.
Can I move towards the back of the boat and sniff that way?
Is anyone like called out for Ron?
Mm-mm.
No.
I'm gonna start doing some illusion, screaming for Ron here and or there.
Ron! I'm gonna get the crew together and make sure the ship is still ship shape, and make sure we're ready to sail at first light.
There are other smells near the back of the boat, but not from the land. You can smell them off of the air. I sniff around near the back of the boat, and there's nothing on the land indicating or matching up with those smells.
Are there any like broken reeds near there?
Not towards the back of the boat, no.
Are the smells in the air anything I can follow?
No, the direction isn't direct. It's just kind of in an area. And that area doesn't seem to be here on the land. It seems to be they're just catching the edge of it from out in the water, out of the water.
How deep is the water? Can I wade into it a little ways?
The bank is pretty steep. There's probably just a step or so right here on the edge of the river, and before it plummets to very deep.
Okay, I don't want to go in that far.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it is like with this. This is a big boat, and it's pulled within a few feet of the bank. It's not many feet off the bank, maybe just 5 feet away from the edge of the boat.
If I walk around the front of the boat, can I catch any of those same smells?
Let's go ahead and roll another one. If you're smelling perception. It's fainter up front. And with the small breeze over the water, it's you can tell that the breeze is catching it and moving it a little. So it's really hard to tell if that's why it's fainter in the front. It's just because it's moving there because of the breeze, or if it's something that's if there's another reason behind it entirely. But yeah, you definitely catch the smell of other people or other humans that are not any of these people that were on the deck.
If I walk a little way down the beach, that direction, can I still smell it?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the back of the boat and keep walking and see if I can catch it that way.
Walk upstream, upriver.
Yeah, back the way we came.
Mm-hmm. And it seems to be very centric to the back of the boat. As you move far away, it seems to dissipate pretty quickly. Feel free to talk it out. You guys are all pretty
Yeah.
engaged as the, you know, as far as the investigation goes, but it's very unlikely that you wouldn't communicate.
Well, I wouldn't because I'm a wolf right now.
Hey, you've growled at me before. That's a form of communication.
But they would probably see me walking back and forth by the boat, so sniffing the air.
I'm dealing with the crew.
What is it, Erlen? Trouble down by the well?
I wonder if thieves' cant would be translatable to direwolf form. I don't know. I just wonder if it...
Probably not. Is there any sort of hidden? I'd be looking for hidden latches and maybe false floors or something like that.
In the boat itself, like in his
Yeah.
room or in where are you looking?
Well, I think that'd be looking in his room, and then I'd be looking up top where near the back of the boat on the top deck. So if I have to do 2 rolls, I will.
Go ahead and investigate. He's looking around the actual his room. You don't find any indication of that. I mean, really thinking it'd be hard to hide something like that. Directly above, it's easy to tell that the floor above is just the ceiling of this room, and then all of your guest rooms and stuff like that to the small deck that's above. There's very other than the small linkage compartment that connects the wheel up above to the rudder beneath, and that's kind of contained in a very small space. Everything else matches the and that actually comes down right past the doorway of the captain's room itself, and you can see that, and it's like a little square, just encasing the linkage that goes down to the rudder below, but you don't see any anything that would indicate that there's a false, especially on the upper deck. The upper deck is pretty much as solidly flat as it can be, and there's nothing indicating that you could get to the captain's room or anything like that from above. No squeaky no squeaky bits.
Can I go investigate his quarters as well and look for closets or something of that maybe we missed?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, so, I mean, the way that it actually, I mean, there's nothing that's actually built into the room. And the room is perfectly rectangular, with the exception of the small box that's a column, really, up near the door frame that holds the linkages. And there is, that is openable, and you can open it, and that's what you just see this shaft that goes from the top down to the bottom. That's just it's more, the only reason why that opens is for purposes of maintenance. Everything else is contained by things that are like chests and something maybe similar to an armoire or dressers, things like that. That's where everything's stored in this big, flat, open room.
The cargo hold under, is that the next thing down?
It's actually, yeah, the cargo, and then the stairs continue on down, straight down to the edge, to the front where the crew area is, on the bottom floor.
I want to check out the cargo hold.
It doesn't appear as anything has been disturbed in the cargo hold. There's stacks of barrels and crates and sacks throughout, but they're all neatly organized in a way that you can still get around and still hold as much as you can in the hole. You don't notice anything out of the ordinary there.
I want to talk to the first mate and ask him what the shipping company's procedure is if they don't have a captain.
I'm sure the lieutenant takes over.
Yeah, by maritime law, he will become the temporary captain until they can.
But they'll go on without him? They won't stay and look for him in the woods or anything?
Well, I mean, they still have to meet their contracts. that's more important, according to the shipping company. Although the captain owns this boat, and he just gets contracts from. So he's more like an independent contractor as opposed to working for big transportation corp, or whatever. And so it's not like they have, procedures. It's his boat. As far as just it being a vessel, in any kind of maritime law, he would take over as captain in the event of the captain being incapacitated or otherwise, dead, or who knows.
Me and the crew have cleaned up the bodies and put them at one end of the ship.
You're doing what now?
I rallied the crew to clean up the ship, get the bodies moved around.
They'll take some. It isn't uncommon for crew members to die from accidents or whatever, and so they have some procedure for that. They do have special burial cloths to wrap the crew member in, and then they place them on deck, up in front of the mast. For the dead crew members. For the others, they don't want to house them. They just want to toss them. They want to toss them towards the bank side. Be done with them.
I would like to convince them to keep everything on the persons, and then I investigate the bodies before we threw them onto the shore.
Oh yeah,
Markings
they
of
would
sort.
definitely take all the stuff that they could at least salvage for some kind of money. Several of the armors, or actually most of the enemy's armor is unsalvageable, but a lot of their weapons and stuff are still keepable, and they would remove those and place them down in the cargo hold.
Well, I mean, we could probably sell that guy's rib cage. It'd been ripped out.
There's a ramp back onto the ship, right?
There's no ramp onto the ship, no.
Ugh, okay.
But you could kind of get someone to shout up to the ship and say, drop me a ramp or a ladder.
Yeah, they usually operate by attachable ladders, or rope, or whenever they pull up to harbor, it's set in such a place they use like crane-like structures and things like that. The harbors are typically built high enough that the deck is very level with the dock, or close enough anyway.
Right. I wolf it, TX.
Okay.
And then I follow the smell from the tracks from where those guys came from.
Okay, I'll follow.
Okay. How far would you like to follow?
I'll follow as well.
I basically just go right up with her.
Well, I mean, how far would she like to follow the tracks?
Oh, question for her.
Yeah, I'd like to go maybe a couple 100 meters into the woods.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't seem to be that organized as far as like walking a single file or anything like that. So they're making a pretty wide berth as they're coming through through the actual woods here. They go for a couple. So you're going about a couple hundred meters. You make it about three-quarters of that distance, and the woods start to fall a little bit as it becomes more open plains. And by the time it hits more of the open plains, where they're spread out in the woods, they really start spreading out. from different directions entirely into the open plains.
Can we see anything on the plains? There's no like spots of light or anything.
No. You do take special note that there is a couple of markings on the trees on the edge of the woods here. A couple of big X's on two big trees that are next to each other, right where you guys come out at.
I sniff the tree.
Yeah, you smell some of that human smell that you'd smelled near the bank. Nothing else out of the ordinary other than the tree itself.
The smell like what I smelled at the back of the ship?
No, like the on the where the tracks were, the shoreline, those that you've been following,
Oh,
the
okay.
humans on from the deck.
Guess we lost our captain.
Yeah, I guess I'll head back to the ship.
Yep.
Is the river moving really fast?
It's not like whitewater kind of rapid movement, but there is a current that flows towards Baldur's Gate. Out towards the sea thereafter.
Did the main boat have any like lifeboats that may be missing?
It doesn't. No, it does. It isn't equipped with anything like a lifeboat.
Okay.
They don't even have a little dinghy.
Yeah, that's more like the thing I was picturing. All right.
No, it's equipped to just go to dock, and then if they need to get out, or if they need to get off the ship, they just get off by ladder or by whatever. Jump into the water, whatever they need to do.
I'm gonna run down the shore, going in the direction towards the front of the ship. I'm gonna run down that way. Maybe a kilometer.
Okay. What are we doing with our running? Looking for something particular?
Yeah, I'm still sniffing. I just want to move fast. I've got 50-foot movement, so.
Okay, moving double time.
Mhm.
Little unit conversion here. Okay. Maybe 500 feet a second, or per 500 feet per minute, rather.
She's
That's what,
risky.
About a 10-minute mile? That's pretty slow, isn't it? No, you're moving twice that speed. Okay.
Yeah.
It'd be a 5-minute mile. So that makes a lot more sense. So you're going 60% of that. So 3.5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, and then I want to sniff the air as I'm going.
So you definitely get the humans that the odd extra human smell, which now at this point is getting fainter and fainter as time has gone on, as you've kind of done a lot of, not only scouting about in multiple directions, the time is just making that scent fade a little bit. But as you leave the boat, not very far, that scent goes away. As you continue downstream for, a few minutes, at your extreme pace, running as fast as you can to get that direction. As you traverse the whole distance, you don't find you find nothing out of the ordinary. You don't get any new traces of the smell or anything.
Alright, I come back.
I guess I went back to the boat. I'd like to ask the officer again if they usually stop at the same stops on their journeys.
It's usually within a pretty decent window up and down this ways. That since they release and Eldorel releases their lock and dam system at the same time each day, or same times each day, they usually only make it to about here, around dark, but it's not always right here, this very spot. It just all depends on how quick the wind pushes them a little bit, plus or minus a mile or two, a couple of miles.
So this was a typical stop.
Typically, one of a few typical ones along the way. I mean, within a couple of miles along this stretch.
Insight check, as if it helped.
Yeah, seems pretty legitimate. I mean, it makes you can logic that out in the same, follow that reasoning pretty easily. Makes sense to you. They all leave at the same time. They travel along the same river that has the same kind of current. They're going to only make it to certain places before it get, by nightfall. Some might push a little further into the night. Some might push, not quite as far. But this is also the second night, so there is some variability within a few mile stretch, even with those conditions. You figure that not all boats are, some are going to start sooner or later, or end sooner or later. That's going to put it off a whole lot. But for them, it sounds like they have a pretty reasonable routine that would put them in similar positions if they followed their routine.
But on the you said, well, never mind. I wouldn't actually know this.
What's that?
Well, it was, only Rowan would know this, but you mentioned when she was sniffing around the trees, they kind of we got to the plains and they kind of spread apart there, as if maybe they came from different places and met at the X's of the tree.
You probably would have seen me like sniffing, doing like a zigzag thing, trying to figure out.
You went with him out?
Yeah.
Yeah. You would,
Yeah,
that,
he did.
That would have been readily apparent. Especially once there was some check for it. When you see what they're looking at, it's like, oh, duh, there's this big X carved into the side of a tree here. Like a little faint little mark, it was a big one. Like bark stripped off and everything in a big X.
So I just asked the officer again, who gives the order to stop?
That'd be the captain. Unless
And he was on duty at this time of night, or well, no, actually we was stopped earlier. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean he was on duty. He's typically, the way they operate, since they don't run it. They don't like to run at night. He's He's the boss from when they wake up to when they go to bed. The officer's more here just for keeping tabs on the crew, making sure the crew does, is staying in line.
I'm gonna drop my wild shape and climb back up the boat and tell everybody that I found a whole lot of nothing. But that I smelled something over the air at the back of the boat. That could have been the captain and whoever either he was with or had taken him. So my best guess is that they had a smaller boat and took him down the river that way, but I couldn't catch a scent. Is there anything else we can do? Anybody have any ideas?
I'm ready to go back to bed.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna just tap Fane on the shoulder and be like, yeah, you know what? It's probably your time for watch, anyways.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Alright, any other interests or anything? Or are we just going to tell the officer to do your job and take over and we're leaving in the morning? Or is that pretty much how we're going from here?
I think
That's
it's
it.
unless he has any trackers, any certain specialists on this boat, but we seem to be at a dead end.
Alright, told the lieutenant we should leave at first light.
Leave it, wait for... We just don't want to follow the same schedule, waiting for light, and then...
That's fine with me.
Actually, I might advise that we go downstream a while, because those X's are kind of just are big old, come here for any ne'er-do-wells.
I'll leave that up to the people running the ship. I know they didn't want to run at night, so
Exactly.
They're starting to come over the whole dumbfounded aspect of it all, and at this time they're looking around, thinking, they start talking about, well, we normally don't run at night because of risk of breaking our necks, so to speak, but rather than be broken than have them cut. And then, like, the guy says that, and then other people are like, you're dead either way, right? So there's, a little bit of communication back and forth, and I think the officer is now actually going to kind of agree with you here. Is like, no, yeah, we could probably run by lantern, run it slow, don't run it full sail, and just keep some distance, make some kind of something.
Sounds good to me.
I'm not gonna go back to my room right away. I'm gonna go into the captain's room and just sit and look and think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not really happy with this as a dead end, but I don't know.
Yeah, so even TX can't see the other shore really from here. Just as a point of note, this river is, like I said, Mississippi wide, and so we're talking a couple 100 feet across in the dead of night. You have now gone up and down. You had some inclination. Your best guess is that they hit a boat and either went down river, but even the most magical of dark vision wouldn't see the other shore.
If they're running the boat anyway, can they swing closer to the other shore so we can see it?
Further down, a little bit further down, they couldn't go straight over. Not with the current like that. And the way
Well,
the sail
theoretically, if the other guys had a boat, neither could they go straight over, right?
was. Not unless they had oars, which might be something a little boat would have.
Well, if we go down the current and to the other side, I can take a short rest and then go running up again. It's an option.
I think TX would reason that, you know, a little effort is okay, but we're here on a much bigger mission than worrying about a seaman who's been thrown overboard, regardless of his rank.
A seaman who
What are you
probably
saying?
was getting his instructions from Monthar.
Well, he's already gone. We lost his trail already, and spending any time looking for it more is just failing. Morn's
I
already given up
unfortunately
on
have
him.
to agree with TX.
Okay.
Alright, so I guess have we come to some sort of consensus about? I mean, the crew is very open to suggest. They're very suggestible right now. They're mostly in shock. They know their business though, so they're willing to head out, and kind of know what procedures to go about doing that. But you're kind of beck and call still. So that's up to you guys.
No, if everybody else wants to keep going, that's fine. I'm still gonna go and sit and think for a little while before I go to bed.
Okay.
Just look around the captain's room.
Alright, so they're going to go ahead and begin making way. A couple of the crew are not in the best of condition. Not only are they in shock, some of them are well past inebriated. And so the officer's going to spend a little bit of time, getting things together. They are going to take the belongings off of those bodies, and they're just going to toss them overboard. The drunkest of them all, well, they're not allowed to get so drunk that they can't stand or anything like that. There's a big reprimand for doing so, and so they're just, mostly drunk. And those that are too drunk to safely handle their job are going to be tasked with cleaning, swabbing the deck. And while the others rush about to set up extra guards up above and end up front, they're going to light some lanterns on some. They got some poles that they can connect into towards the front to hang lanterns from, almost acting like headlights as they begin rolling forward. Time slowly moves forward. Then you get underway. and they begin traversing down the river. Are you guys gonna? I know some of you are gonna, take a little bit of time before going to bed, but otherwise, are we going? Are people going to begin going back to bed?
I'm going to at first walk to the back of the boat and just kind of stare out. Quiet contemplation before I go to bed.
Okay.
I'm just gonna do my watch and then wake up the next person and go to bed. I'm not gonna worry too much about it all.
Okay. Yep.
I'm going to go back to the captain's quarters and search for any evidence of anything like bribery or things that don't belong. Suspicious things. Something bounty hunters would look for.
There were some things that didn't actually get
Searched.
that didn't get searched, so they weren't ever opened. There's a strong lock box, which is the one that holds the crew's pay and that kind of thing, and it is triple locked.
I'd leave that for the crew.
That's the one like where their contract money comes in. That's his stockpile of money, as well as what they pay the crew with and all that stuff. Essentially that's the business cash register, if you want to say. Think of it that way. And then and that was untouched. I wouldn't mess with that at all. A couple of different clothes containers were left untouched. Armoire, plus a chest that just contains blankets and thicker, heavier stuff for different times of the year. The stuff that was thrown about, some of that had some value, some ornate things. Some of those ornate things have been broken. But yeah, you're not really finding anything else out of the ordinary that doesn't belong. No. You do find it odd that there are no kind of captain's log or journal, or you don't see any ledgers or anything like that.
Well, I guess I'm done searching. I'm going to go back to my room and meditate and then go to sleep.
Yeah, once morning's done, I'll go back and go to sleep too.
What, you thought I was going to steal the pay?
I thought nothing.
Mm-hmm. I am the only one with a crowbar.
Dawn comes and goes as you continue traveling. You're trying to keep an eye out, especially for whatever you can along the way, trying to see if there's any other evidence. Just more perplexed than anything about what the heck is going on. And you throughout that entire next day's investigation, still haven't found anything. The third night comes, and they want to know whether or not they should press on through the night as well, through the last third night. If they do, they'll make it to Baldur's Gate. Should be sometime in the morning, just after dawn. If they don't, it'd be, sometime in the mid-afternoon, mid to late afternoon.
If you think it's safe to do so. Like, you guys know this river way better than any of us would, so.
As you're now only a few hours out of Baldur's Gate, now you can see a couple of, small farmhouses littering the side, during gaps of trees and things like that. Then you actually see lights and some stuff, and now that they're this close to the big city, shouldn't be, it should be a lot less rural. So that's, they didn't expect any trouble, but as far as actual moving up and down, it's a lot more clear in this area. You could probably do it with less risk. Plus, they're also a little apprehensive about stopping, just because stopping means that bandits could come again.
Are there any seagulls?
Not seagulls, as we're not actually at the sea. The sea wouldn't be; those wouldn't be this far inland until probably about the time you get to the city, which is actually on a natural harbor connected to the sea.
Right.
But there are various birds and the like.
Can I speak with animals and ask them if they've seen any small boats going this way recently?
They see a lot of boat traffic, and as you've traveled along the river that whole of the day, you've passed several large boats, but they don't really notice. They haven't really seen anything like small, not these boats, but like really small boats. And you try to convey that, and they haven't seen anything like that. Like not even like regular fishermen will get out on small boats on this bigger river. It's too dangerous with the big boats coming down.
Right. Can I give him a general description of the captain and a general description of like what the bandits look like, and ask if they've seen anybody like that?
Like with the general description of the captain, they got nothing. But people that wear hoods and try to hide their faces, they've seen people like that before, just not too often. Not around other people.
Recently? Like in the last day or so?
No.
Okay.
They just say that they see them from time to time, but never when other people are around. Always just the hoods,
Where do they see them?
Usually away from the river. Just, they don't usually come next to the river, at least not that they see.
Okay.
They travel in like little packs like wolves, but out in the woods, out in the open areas, far away from the river.
Okay. And I guess a question for you specifically, the people in the hoods, the ones on the boats and stuff, did they all have sort of the same clothing, or was it like haphazard, kind of whatever they could find put together?
Oh, it's very uniform.
Uniform?
They all had the same. They all had the same scimitars, the same crossbows. Like you might even think they're all crafted the same manufacturer, the same. All the hoods and clothing were all very similar in style, color, everything.
What color? But no markings on them, right?
There was no markings.
Any specific color?
Just like very dark. Somewhere between like a dark green and actually so dark that it looks brown or black.
Okay.
That's how I would describe it, but I don't really know what that would look like. I have a really hard time describing what that would look like.
But something that would allow
dark,
them to
it's like
blend in.
charcoal. Like so dark.
Okay. I thank him and share some food. And as we're getting close to Baldur's Gate, I'm gonna go up to TX and say, Fane actually recommended that I talk to you about this. Can you help me make Bean look not like me?
Oh, I've been wanting to do this for a while. Okay, what do you want to look like? Wait, don't tell me. I'll make you look like something. You'll look great.
Are you gonna
Okay.
dollar up?
Makeovers.
I was actually just telling Fane that disguises over that length of time, when you have, such a long time to prepare, they're not based on like in the moment, like Dex, can I actually apply it really well, that kind of thing. You can just disguise yourself, given that much, given some length of time for the preparation of doing so, especially with the assistance of people that are proficient with the disguise kit. Like anyone who's proficient with a disguise kit can just disguise themselves given enough time. It's like taking 20 or taking 10 in 3.5 rules kind of concept. So you just take long enough to make sure you do it right. And you have that kind of time moving into in the last day and a half, pressing into Baldur's Gate.
Okay, I'd be all putting her hair into a bun. Maybe trimming her eyebrows a little bit because
Hey.
we live in Amazon.
Oh goodness.
I'd lift up her arms and go, well, we need to get rid of some of that body hair there.
Why?
They might know who you are based on your armpits. And trust me, we're in a city. They might care.
City people are weird.
Indeed.
True, but now you're one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I tried to make her out to be a noble woman.
through this experience, the transformation goes rather well, although coming out on the other side of it, Rowan feels somewhat violated in certain aspects of herself.
Pretty woman.
You guys managed to travel for the full length of that day and on through the night. And then just after dawn, you can see this huge prominent city, vastly larger than Elturel was, looming in the horizon as you approach. And with that, I think it's a good place to go ahead and stop it. And we'll pick up docked at Baldur's Gate on the next session.
Docked, but still in the boat, right?
Yeah.
Don't you ever forget.
So if there's any specific thing that you'll want to do in the meantime, you can feel free to make that known at the beginning of the adventure next time that you would like to have done in that last little bit of time coming into Baldur's Gate. We can definitely retcon any reasonable stuff heading into it.
Does Fane have any black eyeliner? Apparently I'm evil.
Might have some somewhere.
Get some evil accents
Evil or
under the
emo?
eyes. Some angry eyebrows painted in there.
Don't
just for...
forget about those crow's feet.
Yeah, you look like Crow.
All right.
Good.
We'll go ahead and stop it there. And I don't know if we got anybody watching today, but if you do, thanks for watching. And we'll be back next week. Or most of us will be back next week, I guess. I think.
We guesstimate.